Good day, everybody, my YouTube family. Welcome to Coordinating Against Colorism. Today, I am going to make a response, particularly to one of my reactors, my keyboard reactors, Sweet Pea. Shout out to Sweet Pea, guys. She has a channel that is very therapeutic when it comes to music. So if you guys like music therapy, I highly recommend that you visit her channel. She made a comment and visited me for, I haven't seen her in a while, but it was very nice to see Sweet Pea's visit, and she always has wonderful questions to ask. And that question goes as such. Hi, dear. Are these investments... Oh, by the way, it's regarding Dee Mwango and her hired boyfriend. Now, some of you guys may not agree that the man is hired, but it doesn't seem like a real romance to me. The guy is like following instructions. So as far as I'm concerned, he looks hired. Even that massage she gave her on the train. I mean, really, what kind of like fake massage was that? That relationship is fake, and that man is hired. Now, I do wish that Dee Mwango will get a real relationship. And the reality is she has had feelings for people who put her down. She has also had hopes for people who put her down. Atita put her down. Atita is in love with some white girl in the middle of, what is it that they call it? Like redneck America. And obviously did not truly have feelings for Dee Mwango. So that was a put down. And then in addition to that, she really was in love with Kino, and Kino allowed her to be chewed up and really digested by a flock of Jamaican women who obviously loved Kino and wanted Kino for their fellow Jamaican, because they're very happy with Kino's queen or empress that he started showing off from New York. They were okay with it, but when it came to Dee Mwango, the comments were not pleasant regarding the possible relationship with Kino. And one of the ways that they were able to handle that situation was to call her a little girl. That's when they started really taking the Kenyan ageism and using it to let the audience know that this relationship cannot happen, that Dee is a little girl, But nonetheless, Dee really did have the hots for Kino, and unfortunately, that wasn't what was gonna be about. Kino didn't feel the same either, and allowed her to be chewed up. But nonetheless, here's Sweet Pea's question. Hi, dear. Are these investments, that is the faking of the relationship, yielding her profits? And how much does she pay for therapy after? Because it has to affect the mindset. Well, let me address that first statement there. Is it yielding her profit? I believe that, and that really answers the question to the second one, how much does she have to pay? I believe that YouTube is a very therapeutic item once you have a community and your audience. You can pick and choose like who's really supporting. You can see who's really providing you that community support. When we think of Dee Mwango, if you go back 4 or 5 years ago, if you remember when the mother was encouraging Aymara to help the little younger sister, Dee Mwango, the mother did not encourage Aymara to help the older sister. The older sister already had her family. We saw her kids around, and she was at the mother's house cooking, helping out, and doing her womanly jobs. But Dee Mwango, on the other hand, was stuck in a dark room in that older house that they had. Sometimes I would put the kids there. The sister's kids were often with her to cheer her up. So she was in a very depressive mode. And she even says it herself that, things were not going well for her when her brother came to save her. She was trying out teaching, but yes, teaching can be very depressing if you don't see the future, your future family, and etc. So apparently Dee was not seeing her future family for establishment, and teaching was just not doing it for her in that sense. So she did not have the community, because teaching does not provide you with that kind of family community. You're just teaching, people's kids basically, but with your own family you can't really see the future. So this was the situation that she was in, and this, and in fact for her it wasn't even like, she had just started. I think, I don't remember what school she was teaching at. I don't think it, because her mother teaches at a like in elementary. That was like a high school level that she was teaching at. But in the at the end of the day, she was stuck in her room, and it wasn't even like she was trying to make a life of her own. And it may be that in Kenya, especially at her age, it was difficult for her to fathom what tomorrow will bring, to be able to try to say she's going to establish her own life and teach. Okay, so her life wasn't that peachy when she was given the opportunity by the brother to start a YouTube channel. And by starting a YouTube channel, she was able to link with girls who were able to just go out there and make it for themselves, who perhaps were more outgoing than she was. And she was able, and I don't know, like those who saw when she first met Ms. Trudy, by the brother's influence, the brother allowed her, and the brother asked Ms. Trudy to help her. She was fake, because she was learning and trying to be like more social, because it is not her personality. It is not Dee Mwango's personality. I mean, she doesn't have the best personality in the world, but she does, when it comes to, okay, who cares? She's not outgoing like Miss Trudy, but the thing is, it seems like she's very manipulative when it comes to her personality, which is not good. But nonetheless, she was faking with Miss Trudy, but apparently Miss Trudy was way more ahead of the gang than she was, and she was trying her best to make it out there. So when she did, and obviously even like in her earlier videos, we saw her hanging out with friends. Apparently they were not really friends. It was just like classmates, associates, that she was hanging out with in order to be able to try to launch her channel. But they were not like best friends. It's not like Ms. Trudy and Malika Kenya, even though Miss Trudy was really helping out Malika Kenya, but they had a tie. They had a tie back in the same mother country. Like they came from the same countryside. So they had that tie, so you could see that they were real friends. It's not the fake friendships that we saw Dee Mwango showing us on college campuses. She did not have ties back home, so she did not have a community. YouTube built for her a community, even though it never evolved into the kind of community that Aymara has, because Aymara connects to people more. Aymara is more of a people lover than Dee Mwango. Dee Mwango is not so much of a people lover. So therefore, therapeutically, her channel is making it for her. She is getting those things that she wants. She has the clout that she wants over the community, even though she doesn't connect. When you have a YouTube channel and you start building community, it is up to you to select if you want to connect with that community, like I am Myra, where they come to his house, where they start mimicking him, where they ask him to teach them how to do XYZ. Or if you're gonna disconnect, like Dee Mwango, who never teaches anybody anything unless she's going to get something out of it, or unless she has already gotten something out of it. So when it came to Michele Ponte, which was the first, I guess, fake, real, whatever you want to call it, relationship, he was her mentor and he behaved like that. So I don't think that relationship necessarily brought her such bad vibes. In fact, I think it was healthy for her because she was able to get out of it without much ado. Michele Ponte did put her down a lot. She never really showed emotions. And I realized that it wasn't even until I started reacting and mentioned the way Michele Ponte was putting down her hair, her racial features, and stating, like telling the whole world, broadcasting that she was being paid, that she actually started reacting. I usually see Dee getting insulted and not reacting to the insults. Dee only reacts to what her audience tells her to react to. She doesn't react to the insults right away. She never reacted to Michele Ponte's insults right away. It was until somebody mentioned it, and that's when she reacted. So my question was it bothering her, or did she come to realize that it was unhealthy? You know? So it is. So for me, that relationship that may not have even required that much therapy. It may have been. It may have become something that required therapy when the brother Aymara went to Italy and asked Miss Michele Ponte to come and join him, supposedly for master class and trying to rekindle the relationship. That's when I saw Dee Mwango, because she had already made up her mind. It's good that once she makes up her mind, nothing could stop her, but the brother's influence with Michele Ponte was obviously bothering her upon Michele Ponte's return. She did not feel comfortable with his return, especially she was already doing her business with JB. She didn't need that. And then again, we realized that even the situation with JB was fake, and that was why Myra needed Michele Ponte there to stop the relationship with JB before it got to the point where it got to. So now when it came to JB, again, she bought him out. All right. It may have been that she fantasized that, she could have. And the thing with her is that I guess because of the monetary, her means of using money, to buy out people, is that she doesn't always show, like, how much it hurts or whatnot. Apparently she got upset with the girls in the Philippines, the nursing, the one who was studying nursing, only when she came out and betrayed her. She got upset with African Tigress only when African Tigress came out and betrayed her, like, openly. But even if we saw and we smelled these things coming, Dee Mwango did not seem to mind. Now, when it came to Sean, again, that was another relationship that just disappeared. She just wanted to show us, at the time she was making content, she wanted to show us that she was building relationships. So there's a question between what she wants to show us and how it's making her feel. But the reality is, when she goes down and she thinks about her day on a daily basis in her activities, she is very grateful, because she remembers where she was in that little dark room, in that little corner, where her sister was just trying to cheer her up with babies who were not even hers, with the sister's babies, and she was hitting hard corners when it came to her effort to be an educator. So she's better off. So therefore, she can get away with buying relationships, because besides, it is profitable for her because she's building content. Maybe she doesn't have any ideas of new content right now, and that's the content idea, so it allows her to build the content so that she can continue her revenue. So she is gaining profit, and I don't know if she splits them with a percentage or how it is that she pays these guys to be her fake boyfriends. Okay, so apparently she couldn't pay Kino. The thing is with Kino, whether she had the hots for him, but at the same time, she did try several times to use the idea of the romance, since the audience was pushing it. And I think each time she did that, we saw the video where Kino made her come out and tell us right in front of his face, to tell us that, she wasn't the lady of his heart, and and she was okay with it. But we know the reason why Kino did that is because she was pushing the romance that the audience was, because she had, Kino probably had to tell her, can't you see that you're encouraging their thoughts? So that's why she had to keep saying it. But then she kept on doing the double speech. All right. Even the time when she was swimming not too long ago in Mombasa, where she was with Davy, and Davy was like, "Oh my God, who taught you how to swim?" And we could see how it hurt her, and the memory of the love that she has for Kino, and she mumbled very softly, Kino. Kino taught her how to swim. And why am I mentioning that? It's the way that she confused the audience, or she led the audience to believe in the romance, because back in Jamaica over a year ago, she was buying some things from some lady, I guess, a vendor that she had gone to buy things often and she was buying swimsuits, and she's like, "Oh, I'm buying swimsuits to go and swim with my husband." I'm like, and the next thing we saw in the video was she was swimming with Kino. So all of those, we can imagine how Kino had to set her straight, you know? So, yeah, so she did not get away with it with Kino, but she probably enjoyed doing that to him because she was getting the audience's attention by doing that. So she was gaining it. And as far as therapy is concerned, as I said, her community is therapeutic. The fact that she's able to produce those videos, what she wants, as she wants, her own content, that's freedom. That is just the freedom that she needs, and I don't think she may need any other therapy. And then she has her brother backing her up. It may be difficult now that the brother has another woman that has taken her first place, but at the same time, the brother, but now she's home anyway. So before, when she was in Jamaica and the tougher parts, the brother was backing her up. But now at home, yeah, she's making this fake guy, but the brother's probably backing it up, and she's completely aware of what it is. She's doing her content and giving the audience, and sometimes it also might feel good for her. We saw her feeling good about it and using the YouTube as therapy with Kino, because even though Kino had made her admit in front of us and right in front of his face that she wasn't his girlfriend, she later came out when after something happened. Every time something happened between she and Kino where she was hurt, her therapeutic session, she had it online. She would come out and go on and on and on and on about how Kino, at the end of the day, Kino goes back to his woman. At the end of the day, he goes back to his woman. And we felt that she was washing herself and purging herself of the pain that she had to deal with of that rejection. So I believe that YouTube, I support social media completely, because we have a lot of people out there who are not your friends, even if they are your family, but they're not your friends, who keep mentioning therapy, as if that is the only way that people can go to be happy. Another person who is not a friend of yours and you have to pay cannot make you happy. They can enlighten you. Here's what maybe you don't have people to talk to, right? And yes, maybe because I went through a time in my life when I had nobody to talk to, and it was day after day. And the worst part is I was living at my mother's house prior to this happening, but it happened when I had left, because the people ignoring me started in her home. So it was like, I'm in my mother's house, I'm supposed to be comfortable, but these people were behaving sort of I think disgusting. They were not like the child of the home. They did not grow up in that home and I knew that family not since birth, since 6 years old until adulthood. So I was a child in that house, or now an adult at the time, and I wanted the freedom to just be me. And this person came and smothered me by bringing in strangers in the house all the time. Every day it was like a different stranger, and it became uncomfortable. So this was the reason why I moved out. Or I wouldn't have moved out, because it was more profitable for me not to, because I could have invested, okay, and not have to pay mortgage, because Okay. So I could have made my property an investment property, and I would have been able to invest more. So if it wasn't for that person, I probably would have been a millionaire today. But nonetheless, I couldn't speak. And I came here and it continued to be the same thing. So it was like they put a spell so that I didn't have friends. I didn't have family support. I didn't have my siblings visiting me. I didn't have anything. Okay, so it was like day after day, it was just me and work. And I ended up moving out of my first investment, going to a second investment, and in there I started looking for churches. The churches were racist. You guys have seen me thrown out of one church. I was thrown out of a previous church for holding my Bible. I know people have come out and said, that is ridiculous, but it happened. And because I was a black woman in a Haitian church. Now, the video that I was able to take, because when it was happening, I was like, there is no way I'm going to let this happen without taking a video of it, because I couldn't take a video when I was in the church. I don't even know where my phone was at the time. It was just my Bible in my hand and I was kicked out. But nonetheless, this time, I took a video of me going to church on a Sunday afternoon. And the part of the video that nobody saw was when I was entering, there were like a lot of white people entering there. And I was raised in New York, where there's like a lot more mixture or integration. In Miami, it's very segregated. Miami is segregated. Segregated by community. And where I grew up in, like, the communities were mixed. Mostly mixed. I mean, it didn't matter. It's like you saw people of different ethnicities, different races, and different backgrounds, from different nationalities in your neighborhood. So it was like very comfortable, very comfortable to be in the suburb that I grew up in, New York. Now down here, you're gonna have your one little place. It's gonna be like your little Havana that I was talking about the other day. In another place, you're gonna have your little Haiti, okay? In another place, you're gonna have mostly people from the Bahamas, even though Haitians and the Bahamians may have the same color, but it's very segregated, very segregated. It's really disgusting. This is like back in 1950, no change. I mean, I wasn't around at that time, but I mean, I can imagine. So nonetheless, I was going to that church. It wasn't it wasn't the Haitian section. It's not Little Haiti, because Little Haiti, as I've been telling you guys, have moved, if you think of the population rather than the area. Okay, so the Haitian population has moved. So I was in that area in North Miami, and they had a Spanish monastery where I had gone to frequently, and when I was living in Miami. But it's been decades. It's been more than 2 decades now since I had gone. So I decided I was gonna go that Sunday afternoon because I just felt like going to church. But I mean, I don't necessarily like to stay in the services sometimes, you have to feel it, but at least be on the church grounds, especially since it's a monastery. I could pray, I could sing. And when I got out of my car, and I saw a lot of people getting out of their cars, so I was like, cool. And then but they were all white though. But I mean, I didn't care, because I'm like, okay, I don't have to be in the church if I'm not comfortable. So as I was entering, this guy ran and came with a sign that said private event. Okay, and all the white people went in, and I was the only one taken out. So anyway, people see that video and they think that I'm a wacko. I'm not a wacko. I am a black woman who is fighting for justice, at least for what I know America has promised me, and that is not in Florida. Florida, at least South Florida, does not have the promises of America, and that's why I need to take journeys. So they say that freedom is not a destination, it's a journey. Freedom is not a journey. Freedom is a destination, because you may find areas where people are accepting and people give you the freedom that you need. So it turns out to be a destination. Destination being a community of people who are accepting of you. So that freedom doesn't exist in South Florida for me. The decades that I have lived here already have proven it. It doesn't exist for me. All right. So nonetheless, going back to Dee Mwango, the ability to talk, All right, her brother talks with her. She tries to have little talks with her mom. Her mom is always just so busy doing so many things. But at least Myra has been that point of community for her. I understand that the older sister hasn't. And in addition to Myra being that community for her, now the YouTube becomes that community when Myra is absent or when they're not compatible for some time being. She has the YouTube and she communicates the way she wants to. She's more like, I want to take control, and it doesn't matter what we say, she's just gonna continue. So it's not that interaction with people and that love of people, joy of meeting new people. It's not that for her. For each person, it's their own. So she has the therapy. And yeah, so like the idea of being unable to talk, I remember, like, it was a priest who had recommended me to because after like finding myself feeling like a zombie, I always saw this Catholic church where young people, because I was young at the time, where young people kept on gathering. And one day, because I used to take classes at FIU, and the place was right across from FIU, for those who know. So one day I finally decided I'm gonna go in there and find out if I could get help. So maybe, like, I'm like, this, this Catholic church seems to be like, like it might help young people. So I went in there, and I didn't expect for the priest to talk to me. So that was like the first time somebody actually talked to me, and I told them my story, and he made me feel like his sister, and I was like, oh my God, like, who makes me feel like their younger sister? Because I'm always like, they were always using age all around me. Like, I was older than everybody in the household where I came from. And I was older than everybody. It was like always, I never had people my age. And here's this or older, and here's this person. And I, telling me, you are young. What are you talking about? You are young and I'm XYZ age. And I'm your older brother. And that was, I felt so free. And then he was like, I'm going to help you. So he put me in a prayer group of young adults. And through that prayer group, I didn't talk a lot, but at least we were able to exchange, hi, how are you? And exchange, like, I guess, what you wanted to pray for. And that was it. And not only that, we were able to do it like in community. Like, we're more than one to invite with, because sometimes it's hard for you to pray by yourself when you live alone. So I went through that. So I understand, the need for a talk. So you don't have to go to some kind of person who went to school to get whatever, to pay them. The best way you can access talk and therapy is through people who are genuine, people who know you and who love you, or who are genuine, who understand you and who want to understand you. Your people. You gotta, I don't know if it's my classmate who made up this song, or if it's a song that's really popular, but I have this classmate who's really into the arts, back in high school, because they did connect with me. As I said, social media helps. My classmates connected with me the first time I was asked, because I used to try to tell my story through writing, but nobody read my books. So I went to this community for Haitian women, and the guy told me to start a Facebook channel, a Facebook page, and for my book. So I did, and interestingly enough, all of my high school classmates found me, and I never went anywhere with the book. But guess what? I learned that there are people in the world who knew me, because these people, we were never friends in high school, but they always looked at me with admiration of my studiousness and my seriousness about school. And all of a sudden in adulthood, they were able to create that connection for me to remember how I was viewed when I was a teenager, and that helped me a lot, because sometimes you are in communities that create images of you that are not you, because these people don't know you and they don't care to know you, and they're just your surroundings. It's not a community. Sometimes maybe it is just where you happen to live. It's just where you happen to find work, but it is not a community for you. So like my friend was saying, Her name is Vanessa Potter, so I don't know if she made up the song. You gotta find your people, the ones who make you feel alright. You gotta find your people. So you can find your people through community, through online. I found my people through Facebook. They found me. They found me through Facebook in a sense. But as I said, we were never that close friends, but they did create a lot of help for me because they're in New York and I'm in Florida. So I had that distant connection, which helped a lot. And YouTube has helped me a lot. So I can imagine how YouTube can help Dee Mwango as she goes about and find her people. So she's finding her people through these fake relationships. The only thing is, we as reactors, we got to say what it is, because I would prefer if Dee were real, because when she is real, she can connect more. But apparently she is also attracting a group of people with her fake romances who want romance. They want romance, so she's attracting them to watch her. So she's going the fictional rather than the realistic way. So we just have to see it for what it is. Okay, so that was a long 30 minutes to explain one sentence. And then it says, this isn't Hollywood, just an app named YouTube to establish income. Oh my God, this keeps, okay, 1 second. To establish income based on illusions. When do we say enough selling out to make the higher masses richer? Because we all understand these apps are designed to keep the consumer captured by keeping them entertained to stay on their apps day in and day out. True. Maybe there were, but once upon a time when these, if you guys are my age, when all of these, is my generation that created most of these apps. So when I was in college, everything was free. The apps were free. Everything was free. It's like you could just create. In fact, I had my own page at one point, where I wasn't the guru at database programming, which I could have learned, to be able to keep a large number of people, as does YouTube and Facebook and all these other apps. But the reality, yes, all these people who created those social media, there's a reason why. Like, imagine if initially you're free, they were also probably searching for community, and they found a way to get people to just come. All right, the money came later. The money came at the turn of the century, and that's when they started getting paid. But initially, everything was free, because remember, the World Wide Web was a military invention. It was created by the U.S. military. So we had those. I understand that a lot of people were already paying for some of these, like the colleges and universities were paying for the emails, so that we can communicate. Microsoft, they were purchasing Microsoft. Right now, it's, these people are making tons of money compared to what they used to make before, when you would just buy the software and install it on your computer and have it forever, unless it gets a virus or something, and then you just download the drivers. For people who are of my generation, you will know, you download the drivers and you make it all work. So it was like, whatever you bought, was yours forever. It was yours forever. So it's so I don't think I don't think these were all created initially with the money in mind. It just so happens, yes, it became profitable and they're making money. So the same way it helped, and it may have initially helped the creators, that's the same way that it helps us who may be going through that. So it's not a matter of saying, oh, I'm gonna let myself stay in misery, and here is this thing, and I'm gonna like pay a psychologist, to listen to me, whereas you can just come to an app and just be able to do that. So I think that so not only that, and it's nice that they decide that they're gonna pay us their revenues, because they don't have to. But I guess since they do, it enhances more creativity, and as you said, to stay on there and to promote their app. All right. And before apps existed, it wasn't even an app. It was just an online page that people could go in. I can't stand apps, actually. So I still use YouTube as an online. I don't really use it as an app. But so it's an online page, like really. And the idea of the app is just that what you're doing is you're putting the link on your phone or whatnot to make it more accessible. That's all it is. But at the end of the game, it's not just about an app. It's about humanity. It's about once upon a time, people can remove you from society. They can discriminate against you, and you had nowhere to turn. But today, you do have somewhere to turn. It may look nasty to some people that, this person I remember when I was a kid. When one cousin would bring her sibling to court, and this used to happen a lot in one of my mother's cousin's family, where the one sibling would bring the other one to court, be it over a car or whatever it was over, that they would bring the sibling to court. So it was a big deal that they actually would take their family to to court, to the public eye, not resolve it in private. But sometimes, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes certain situations you may be in, they know that here's it is, your privacy is what creates your honor, okay? And they enter harmful people, especially if you are around racist people. I come from a country where colorism is an infection. It's a disease that is a pandemic, colorism in Haiti. It's disgusting. So when they see a black woman, they will try everything possible to make you look what they define you as, which is not a pleasant thing. So if you were a private person and you enter, that's what happened when I entered Miami. I entered a disgusting community of colorists, racist Haitian people, all right, who will put me down because of my color. They don't care of what I am. In fact, the fact that I came from New York and that I would pretend, or that I would have some air of whatever I had, I had my college education, blah, blah, blah. They will grind me down to the dirt, okay? And they will do it publicly, in private publicity, if you will. So it is in a way that they will grind you down so badly privately that they will make you a nobody publicly. All right? And it's not even in fact, I believe maybe this is part of the codes of zombification, because when I went to that priest and asked them for help, I felt like they had turned me into a zombie. I had nobody. They have a term in Haiti, said tête sans corps. Tête meaning that I had a brain that I was using, and that's why I had an education. All right, sans corps, without a body. Okay? That was basically what the Haitians turned me into. A tête sans corps, the racist Haitians. Well, I guess the whole Haitian community, because I'm Haitian, so naturally it's normal for me to be part of the Haitian community. So the community that had accepted me was a mostly Cuban community. So I'm not Cuban, and the culture is a little bit too strong for me. So after praying for 3 years, I needed to be Haitian. I needed to be me. I needed to be to have my culture. So the best way that I have found to be able to retain my identity is by I learned by using their same code against them. So when they were doing things in private, when you put it in public, you undo it. So if it's witchcraft that they do by creating private things, I undo it by putting it publicly. So, the things that you may say, oh, don't say this in public, they're going to come and they're going to use that for you privately. They're going to use very private things, okay, to destroy you, to destroy everything you work for, all your identity. And this is the sad thing about Haitian people. This is the sad thing, how we blacks have been so scorned and so looked down on, and the Haitians will make sure that we continue being looked down on as dark-skinned black people. That it is only the fairer that are human that have core, and core is a body, you know. So when you think of a body, that is a community. Only the fair skin have a community. So me, as a dark-skinned Haitian woman, not ever having a community down in South Florida, I found myself a community here on social media. All right, I found myself a community on Facebook with the people who knew me since childhood, who really knew me. Sometimes some people may know you so well, and with such positivity, they know you better than you. And I don't know if everybody listening to this have had that opportunity, but I thank God for my childhood in New York, because I had people who knew me better than me, and it wasn't an ugly, nasty something to look down on. They knew me with honor, and I honor them for that. You gotta find your people, the ones who make you feel alright. You gotta find your people. So it's not just an app. It is it is something that society may not want anybody to have, because like there are certain people based on the classes that society put you in who deserve certain things. You may deserve family, you deserve children, you deserve husband, you deserve everything. You deserve church roles, okay? You deserve that religious thing. And there are others who they feel like do not. These are the unwritten codes of racism, the unwritten codes of slavery that exist today, okay? So those of us who do not deserve any of these, we don't deserve to be in churches because we will be kicked out. And then if we videotape it, we will be called crazy for doing that. Yeah, I'm a crazy black woman. All right. And the reality is I wasn't the one behaving like crazy, pushing on anybody. I was just singing in that video. Right. So I already know how you, somebody somebody who approaches you as that, okay, this is the image they have of you. So this is not your community. Okay. So on YouTube, on in public, you can see who is your community. And this is where I started in Facebook, putting everything in public, and it became healing, because I did find people to help me, because in the beginning it was very difficult. In the beginning it was like they will undo your logic, so and they will do it with the populace. So it was like, it will be like all of them will bombard you with the same concept, like they are right by the population. So it was like they were making fun of democracy being that you will vote, the most popular one will win. They were using democracy to enslave and to abuse blacks, okay, within the community. So what I ended up doing is I no longer accepted anything private. Everything had to be public. I no longer took phone calls. I stopped taking phone calls online. I blocked everybody who texted me. I told my friends from New York that if they wanted to write to me, they had to write to me on a post or just put it on my page. So I started communicating publicly, and that started healing me. That started healing me because I was being harmed with private attacks. I was being harmed by the phone being hung up on me. I was being harmed because I was by myself, by people pretending like they were friends, so that they could call me and say weird things that nobody else would hear, only me, and then they could say I'm crazy, So everything had to be in public, so that people could see the racists, so that people could see who they were, who are putting things. And that's why even sometimes, people may put comments. YouTube does hide some of the comments that are placed. Some of them they even hide from me. But if they don't hide it and I know that the comment is derogatory, I will not remove it. Why? Because this person is exposing their own view of me and their own biases of me. So I don't remove it, because the important thing is to know who you are. And at least if you know who you were, then you know who you are, to help you fight against who they are trying, the image of the beast that they are creating of you. That is their own image, not yours. All right, so you fight in public. And these public struggle is actually not just in app, my friend. It's not just in app. I know some of us are afraid to speak, but for some of us it's okay, because you have the community, you have the private community that is not harming you. But if you have a community that has come to harm you in private, then sometimes the only way out is to put them out in the public. I hope that answers your question. So, to close off, my friend, I know that you don't want to be out in the public, and I respect you for it. I understand, like, many people don't want to be out in the public. My first books that I published them with a pseudonym, but then I discovered that people were taking my ideas and twisting it into theirs, and then confounding my entire life struggles. So then I started publishing with my name and putting my picture on it, because for all you know, there are so many white French Claudines, you might, or light-skinned Haitian French Claudines, who might come and talk about, and my ideas can be twisted into the whole thing of, like, the situation with Maisha taking up. And what about Maisha's point of view? Maisha being used by his father to be, a creation of his father, to be able to empower himself through light skin, etc., etc. What about Maisha's point of view as he grows into a young man, But at the same time, you have to understand the point of views of those who are shunned. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, Anne has a channel. I noticed that she started her channel. She must have graduated and started her channel. All right, the point of views of Dee Mwango, of course, why she's out there, why, but then again, she's learning not to make YouTube her sole thing, because we realize that she's not putting videos out there that much anymore. But sometimes the thing is, you may only need the public for a small time. Like, at some point, when you have found those people who become family, in one way or another, you may not necessarily need to come out there, unless your audience seek you, in which case they too are family and they want to know how you are. So it's not just an app. It is a new means of survival for those in society who do not have communities that are accepting of them. Because when you put yourself out there, some way or another, you can overcome racism. Some way or another, you can overcome colorism, and you can overcome the abuses of society. Thank you for watching Claudine Etienne Against Colorism. Have a great day.